I'm Uncle Potsquatch, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. All right, let's get back to the beginning here. And all right, so it. Oh, unless we switch it to live, there we go. No, we're good. All right, cool. So it seemingly deleted a bunch of the messages that were there. I don't know how that happened, but to whoever was there, hello and welcome to the show. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day here. It's just been slowly but surely working our way through. Basically processing all the plants. So they kind of hit the perfect level of dryness there. And so we came in and we're processing as they're hitting that perfect dry window, sort of stripping down the buds on them and then putting that all into jars. And then once we get that into jars, we're going to be able to start trimming and processing our way through it, okay? What's happening, Soul Price? Good to see you. Ivan Daigle, good to see you, buddy. Rock and roll. How's the East Coast treating you? I hope it's going well, buddy. Is this all working? Yep, perfect. It's on the right thing. What's up, local grow guy? Good to see you. Hey, hey, hey. Technically, you typed hey, 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 who? Or no, hey, hey, who? There we are. No, we're good. It's just sort of been one of those days, slowly but surely processing my way through the plants and getting them into jars. And oh shit, Ivan says I got COVID today. Dude, I'm sorry. I hope. It is kicking your ass, and you're kicking its ass. Well, good. At least it's an even fight on the COVID. That's been a thing happening in BC here too, on the west coast of Canada, and certain people are getting sick. And hey man, may the force be with you, and keep kicking its ass. I personally do not currently have COVID. Local Grove Guy says, what's your thoughts on Grove bags? I've never heard of Grove bags. Grove bags. What's a Grove bag? Or do you mean like fabric pots, or what do you mean, my friend? With a little bit more of information, I can maybe give you my honest opinion, okay? All right. Hey, much love to you, Family Trees Grow Coast. Welcome, show. What's up, Grimity? Good to see you. What's up, Miguel Rodriguez? Good to see you as well. We've been working hard, I'm going through. Everyone's talking about these bags. Oh my God. All right. Well, I don't even know what the hell the damn things are. So, hey, we got that going for us. I mean, I guess I could technically grab the laptop there and I could pull it up and figure it out. What's up, the Quiet Witch? You got COVID too, man? What's up, John Noir? Good to see you. All right. So, long story short, I mean, I've seen different versions of that over the years. I don't know the specific product in terms of that. Typically having a bag where you've got a breathable valve that's going to release gas after it releases to a certain point. It's kind of similar to the sort of the basic valve we would put into a coffee bag. Okay. In theory, if it was dialed in properly in terms of actually bleeding out the gases at a proper rate, I won't lie to you. I think it's super cool. I think it could be very effective. However, the one thing I will say is I would still say you probably need to pull stuff out, because that's one of the things when I'm curing my cannabis. Like, I mean, obviously I'm burping traditionally, right? So I've got glass jars and I've got all my weed in glass jars and I'm burping that way. I will pull all the weed out gently, obviously, and then rearrange it, put it back in a different order, as it were, and just kind of keeping that balance going as well throughout my cure. I don't necessarily do that every day, but I'll do that every couple of days, though, for sure, especially in the first sort of 2, maybe 3 weeks. So the premise of the bag with a valve or breathability that can self burp, right? I think it's great. I mean, it's something that I always thought had a valid point for years. But my one thing I will say on that is I still think you should open the bag, you know what I mean, and pull things out and rearrange it every 2 to 3 days, especially in your first 2 or 3 weeks of that cure process and kind of getting that started. Oh my goodness, thank you, Sarah the Quiet Witch. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it. Also, cool emoticon thing. It's like a hippopotamus that's very fast and it's like running angrily or determinedly. I like it. Very nice. Thank you so much, though. I very appreciate it. All right. So Family Trees, Grow Crow says, I like them. Hard to find the right size, how they work. I've seen friends. I'm like Potsquatch. Whereas I won't fix it if it's not broken. Well, exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, my only comment to them is, okay, so a self-burping valve built into a bag. That's cool. Okay, that's rad. My question would be, though, what have you made them out of? Are they leaching anything? Or they have a sort of a certain shelf life before they start to leach something? Part of why glass jars glass containers is always a wonderful thing to use, is because it's non-reactive. Okay, so it's not going to screw with anything. It's going to be all right. It's going to be thick. So like glass, good, non-reactive. Throw that shit in there. We get that perfect cure. Get those taste coming out. You know what I'm saying? But then curing in anything but a non-reactive substance like glass or Pyrex, I don't know, man. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, right? Like, so I'd be curious. Whoop, I just kicked the camera. Sorry about that. I would be curious to find out, though, like what the hell it's actually about. You know what I'm saying? Tony, yeah, some of the tops are pretty big on it, the only thing that on some of the genetics I'm not the biggest fan of currently is the only issue is there's sort of a lack of density on some of the crosses there. I mean, it's dense in a normal way, I guess, but I'm so used to rocking like Cushes and like very, very, very traditional BC heavy indica dominant realities on things. It could be me just reacting to that. But like it's dense. It's just not the density I'm used to. The Alien Rift has that traditional sort of North American, I'll describe it as almost density to it. But the smells are great. I mean, and everybody, when I trimmed well, it's not trimmed. I like processed it into the jars and then I'll go do a final trim through afterwards. On that candied gathers, everybody. Oh my goodness, the nose on that? The nose, everyone, on that is just astonishing. The cotton candy meets that, bubblegum flavor. I mean, it's just, the nose on those ones, man, is just, so good. Thank you very much, Ivan Daggle, by the way. I do apologize. I didn't acknowledge it right away, but I acknowledge it now. Thank you, sir. And the fact is, family trees grow coast. I mean, it could leach depending on what they made it out of, or it could be like a thing that's got a certain shelf life, right? So it won't leach for a bit, and then eventually it will leach, and then like, oh crap, what am I putting in my shit? I was reading a scary article. This is about human beings, okay, but they were actually testing a lot of the blood that's been sort of donated recently, and it's a very large part of the population is now showing to have like these micro pieces of plastic in our blood now from things like water bottles and shit like that, and it's actually starting to show up in human tests or the test of the human blood population in terms of donations, right? And I'm just sitting here going like, oh, that's fucked, right? And so I'm always worried about leaching when it comes to, especially when it comes to the curing process and everything's sort of tempering and giving off gases and we're locking it away, then burping. And so, gas, non-reactive, safe place to do it, and that's fun. I like that, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoy the thought behind this bag. I've always enjoyed the concept because I, thought of a concept. Basically, my thought was just sort of having a very similar valve that, burps to a certain point, same as we would put on a coffee bag, because it's always giving off gases as well. But, it depends on what it's made out of. And I like my glass jars. Are they cumbersome? Not really. Well, maybe. When you grow a lot of weed, yeah. And there's a lot of them, right? But, it's part of the fun, man. Do something right. If you're going to do it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my humble 2 cents on that. Good evening, Miss Case Garland, by the way. What's up, the man? Hell yeah, the man. That's my happy place and go to. The Pro Mix HP with that micros there, man. It's the way to go, baby, in my humble 2 cents. Yeah, so the man, that's what I use. So Pro Mix HP with micro size, that's my go-to. It's affordable, it's reliable, it's very consistent. And I have been nothing but impressed with all Pro Mix products I've ever tried, and super into it, man. 100%. What's up, Sam Badley? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. The man says, how do you feed it, or do I even need to? Well, no, just having, enough accessible sugars there, right? So, but just normal feed. It'll be good to go, right? Like it's microsate cultures will go, hell. The only thing I would say with Promix HP, it does have microsate in there. But if you wanted to go with a little addition and sort of bump it up a little bit and add some extra in there, a little Great White or some other product just like it, yeah, you're good to go, man. That's the only comment I would say. So I wouldn't really worry about that. It'll do its thing. Feed as you will, but you can always add some more in there too. Exactly, Mansford. Or I mean, family trees. I was reading that. But yeah, no. So things are going really well though. And I'm going to be pressing some of this too. I'm excited about that. To see the different leach rates of rosin off the most recent run. That's something I'm excited about seeing too. You know what I mean? Like seeing the different phenos, comparing those within the genetics themselves. I really feel that the Alien Rift is going to leach out well. These orange Hindus also have a very, very strong stickiness to them. Um, the most resinous of the grow would be the orange Hindus and then the Alien Rifts. They've just got this thick, almost pasty kind of existence in terms of the oils within the plant. You know what I'm saying? It's funny, Eugene Dolan. I was actually thinking about that this morning to myself, and I think it was that one time we did that weird show for Einstein, and he didn't show up in the show, and he never came back. Einstein has been missing ever since then, so who knows? Makes one wonder. Maybe we upset Einstein. Einstein's been gone since then, though. But who knows? I hope he's okay. So Ivan Daigle, we are drinking a small batch brew, table saison from Mountain View Brewing. Actually, talks with Mountain View Brewing are moving forward. We may be actually getting sponsorship from Mountain View Brewing here. Great local, small, family-run, owned craft brewery here in Hope, British Columbia. And we're talking about maybe even doing a co-branded beer too. It's on the table. I mean, we're just in initial conversations now, right? But you never know there, bud. We might end up deciding to work together. They're good people, we're good people, and we're small family companies. And well, Uncle Potsquatch, he likes beer, so it might make sense. But that's what I'm drinking, Ivan Daigle. What's up, Ozzy Lone Wolf? Good to see you, my friend. I'm just reading here, everybody. Oh, dude, that's stoked, the man. I'm glad that the Canadian Tire has it for you. Bear with me, everybody. Do you mean the television show I was talking about going to Vancouver for the thing about? No, it's a show coming out this spring. It'll be out on Lumi's streaming platform, which is the ATPN network, which is the Aboriginal Television Programming Network. Their streaming service. And I think it might eventually, hopefully, maybe go to Netflix eventually. We're hoping for that. But Lumi and Netflix are kind of in bed together, shall we say, in terms of business relations. So, but it's a new show called Shadow of the Rougarou. It'll be coming out May 9th on Lumi. Check it out. It's gonna be a good time. What's up, James Mercer? Good to see you, my friend. What's up, Vic Victor? Good to see you. Well, Soul Price, we're not going to be able to put the THC into the beer there. And even the licensing for CBD in the beer might be hard here in Canada. Sadly, just because we're in theory legal here in Canada, let's be honest, it's the government does not make anything easy when it comes to licensing and actually getting anything done. But we're working on it. I'm just reading, everybody. Bear with me. What's up, Tom Hack? How's Missouri doing? Or is it like more commonly pronounced like Missouri? Anyway, however I'm supposed to say it, welcome and hello back to Missouri. What's good in the hood, Tom Hack? James Mercer says, what week would you expect to start seeing trikes developing? I'm on week 4, flower, not a speck of trichromes. Oh, really? I mean, you should be seeing something by now. What strain, can I ask, are you running right now, James? And also, what light's it under? Give me a little information. What strain, what lights? I'm assuming you're probably growing in dirt, and so what size pot, maybe? Just in terms of the generalized size of your root ball. Let's go with that, and then we'll go from there. Operation Annihilation says, I have a grow tent in my office that is being used. All right. Can I grow autos in my office? Yeah, sure, if you want to. If I'm going to be walking in and out of my office at any given time, and I may have to open my tent. Well, I mean, you could in theory. I mean, as long as you're not overly worried about, the occasional smell of cannabis. Obviously, if you run a can filter in there, little carbon filter, that'll take care of most of your operations. Fine, it should do. But let's be fair. If you're working like in an office building with other people in their offices, there's a good chance other people might notice. So, it's doing a stealth grow in your office. If you're in an office building with other office people, oh, that's going to be hard to maybe hide completely. But if it's like a personal office in your house, yeah, just put a can filter in there. That'll take care of the smell. You'll be good to go. What's up, Greg? It's a start. We're working on it, right? It's developing as it goes, Ivan Daigle. Eddie Muscle TNT. Hey, Potsquatch, what's your thoughts on blackstrap molasses? And thank you for your wisdom. Well, I don't know about the wisdom part, but I will happily share my learned 2 cents over the years of being but a fool playing with cannabis. Big fan of blackstrap molasses. Make sure it's unsulfured. It's one thing that I cut it out 2 or 3 weeks out before I finish personally, because if you don't, it seems to be all that you can taste in your finished product, which is not great because it's not really coming from the weed itself. It's coming from like an add-on in terms of its feed, and I'm not a fan of that kind of addition to a flavor in cannabis if it's from its feed rather than, and especially late set on. You know what I mean? So, but it's a great accessible sugars, good for your microbials, and yeah, no, I'm a fan of it. I just don't like using it too late, because I feel like I can smell and taste it in my finished product. It's like the fist bump, man. It's like, yo, what's up, homie? Boom. That's what we do in Mud Swat. Oh, you were kidding. Well, fuck. There we go. Sorry about that. So Marvin's Garden, I've grown many Kushes and I've grown bubblegum. I've never grown bubblegum Kush, but if bubblegum Kush is in actuality a blending of some form of Kush and bubblegum, depending on what Kush it was crossed with, I could at least give you a educated guess of knowing both sides of it going into it of what it may have been like. So I've grown bubblegum indica, but I've never grown bubblegum Kush though. Yeah, no, and family trees, Grow Coast. I agree with your statement towards Bruce. It is weird that nothing's happening at 4. Unless it's a really, really long run sat Don. That was why I was asking in terms of sort of some of the strain base on it, because it's not unheard of to see that. But even still, it's a little strange, to be honest. What's up, Nathan Burrow? Good to see you, buddy. Nectar of the Gods is nutrients. All right, James. So those are pretty, those should be okay. What's up, Pache Ferrero? Good to see you, buddy. Really, James? That's fucking strange, buddy. Very strange. Well, and calcium, magnesium, though, are also too, Paul, like just such important sort of secondaries in flower, right? So, to keep our plants happy and healthy and doing their game and killing it and flower it and getting us all those beautiful, cannabinoids and terpenes and making sure they're healthy and well fed. I personally believe Calmag is actually really quite important in my flower. Obviously calcium in earlier veg is great for building our cell walls and doing all these other sort of strength parts to the plant, working with silica, etc. But at the end of the day, I personally don't cut out CalMag. A lot of people get weird about CalMag or some form of CalMag during flower. I personally like it. I've always used it, and I don't know. I feel it does. I don't know if I would say it's directly augmenting flavors, but I could say it's augmenting the flavors. But I feel it's keeping the comprehensive feed of my plant healthy, so the plant is able to bring me these beautiful smells and tastes. And that's kind of what I would go with on that one. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Operation Annihilation? Oh yeah. Oh no, that'll be fine. Operation Annihilation. The only thing to remember about that is that it should be fine. Just watch for nanners. Watch for that hermaphroditism coming out. But if it's a stable enough autoflower, which is hit or miss in this day and age, I guess. Yeah, it should be fine. Don't worry about it too much, right? So. Aussie Lone Wolf. It's 1,000 watt. What was it 1,000 watt of, though, everybody? I missed that message about his light. God damn it. Where is it? Oh, it's 1,000 watt HPS 5 gallon plastic pots. Okay, so James Mercer, if you've got it under 1,000 watt, how old's your bulb? How many runs you done on the bulb? I mean, even if you've lost a shitload of lumens and it's throwing off residual heat, it should still have trikes, though. At least a little bit by now. Sorry, I had to scroll back up, everybody, and try to find some stuff. Trichrome degradation is a real thing, Mudspot. But at the same time, it's sounding like they just never showed up to me, which is different. And I will say that like some older strains don't trike out crazily, but they can still get you pretty good. James. And then brand new bulb. Okay, so we have no lumen issues, we have no loss of efficacy issues. Then if it's a brand new bulb, I'm gonna go genetics then, man. It's a weird genetic that doesn't trike out that heavy, and that's a real thing. I mean, you can see different phenotypes that are going to trike out and other ones that won't. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, dear Reverend Veritas. I, as well, have quit the ciggies. I mean, I'm still on this weird nicotine robot thing, but yeah. But so, like to me, it sounds like just like those trikes had never shown up. So to me, I'm almost going to think that this is a genetic thing. One other question I'm going to ask James is it? I'm assuming one strain you're seeing this on, or is it multiple strains? That's another question too. Oh, I know, and that happens too, Mudswat, for sure. Hell yeah, congratulations, O'Shea. Well, my energy levels are certainly better after quitting smoking, so I can attest to that at bare minimum. To answer your question, Aussie Lone Wolf, I do not have the origin story of Bruce Banner off the top of my head. I actually know that it is for a fact in one of my books. I think it's upstairs in the shelves there. But off the top of my head, I can't remember the origin story of the Bruce Banner there. PIF 1000, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the differentiation, as long as it's a comparative feed system, I mean, the plant's really not going to care what you're feeding it, to be honest. A lot of people go, oh, you can't switch nutrient system. And let's be real, the plant doesn't give a shit. It comes from Mother Nature, man. And it's just like, as long as it's getting the nutrition that it wants and it needs, it probably won't be too big of a deal. If it's a starkly different type of a feed or a feeding regimen, that might cause up a bit of a ruckus within your plants, and they might get a little pissy at you. But overall, it shouldn't be too bad. James Mercer says all four plants. All four plants. Now, is it the same strain, though, or is it four different strains again, James? And if you already answered that, I do apologize, my friend. Sorry, everybody, I'm just reading. It takes a bit of time too, O'Shea Ferreira. You'll get used to it. Well, there you go, Eddie. Yeah. I mean, and I know that Bruce Banner's in one of my books upstairs in terms of its supposed origin stories on that one too. I just don't have it, in my head. I mean, every time I smoked Bruce Banner, it was decent. I respect it as a strain. It's not bad. But I would also say though that, I'm not like, oh my god, when I try it. Like, it's a very respectable strain. I think it's a brilliantly well made strain for what it is. But for what I look for what I want for my personal smoke, it's not necessarily anything overly special to me personally. However, I could see it being a very great proponent to breeding with something else to then carry with some of the traits of it that I did quite enjoy to some other traits, and so it would be worth working with. You know what I mean? And that's kind of my humble 2 cents on the Bruce Banner there. You know, I got a few different versions of it from different sources. You know. So my question is though, Operation Annihilation. Do you have a fan that's pulling out hot air out of your tent, or is it pulling out the hot air? Exhaust. It can help mitigate temperature. Well, and obviously relative humidity too. I love how family trees grow coast now just like right there. We're like, wait a minute, do you have an exhaust? What's up, Muskoka James? How you doing, buddy? Hey, dude, Roman Reckless. I mean, my dry is just sort of finishing slowly but perfectly right at the window, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be fast enough to trim everything, so I've kind of been processing everything. I've been stuck in that, getting all the things we're keeping to trim into the jars and going from there. So I feel you. I feel you, Roman. What's up, Tim Shortridge? How you doing, buddy? Oh, it was funny, right, family? It was funny. It was funny. You know, the thing that on our last run that had some, like, so I haven't gotten any of the Orange Hindu Kush yet or the K Town Kush by Cheese yet, and they look pretty good. Like, I haven't gotten into them yet and started cleaning them up, but I won't lie to you, the Alien Rift when I was cleaning it up is just so frosted as well, and it's so buttery. It's got this the resin to it as I'm processing it, cleaning it up, and breaking it down to the jars. Has got this almost buttery fatness, and I will describe it like that, like a buttery fatness. It's both sticky but buttery to the resins that are excreting off this bud as I'm processing it, and I'm just like, I like it. It's got the weird smell. It's kind of like it's almost reminiscent of like a lot of old school indicas that didn't come from the Kush sort of explosion here in BC from my earlier years. Like there's some interesting, there's like an earthy note to it. But as I've been trimming it, you know, I've detected some very subtle secondaries to it. Like there's almost a subtle citrinous kind of a something there every once in a while, and it's super subtle. Just as you're kind of breaking it down, you're like, oh, there was a note of that there, you know. And there is a sweetness to it. It's mostly this sort of earthy, spicy funk, but there is a subtle sweet secondary to it too, as you smell it, right? So that's where I'm curious to press some of it into rosin and to see what that comes out, you know, in terms of its terpene profile as well. You know what I'm saying? Have I tested it yet? I have smoked some of the Alien Rift because it was just so weird and buttery. I wanted to try that one. What's your question, Greg? Did I miss it? If I missed your question, ask again. I apologize if I missed it. Oh, and Eugene Dolan, by the way, thank you so much for your donation, man. I really appreciate that, bro. Greg, if you asked a question, I don't see it. I'm sorry. Ask again. Oh, here it is. What are some other ideas to get the relative humidity down? My tent already has a dehumidifier in the tent and in the back house as well. Well, simply put, Greg, if you've already got a dehumidifier and you're struggling with keeping your relative humidity down, you need a bigger dehumidifier. It's one of those things where, I mean, your exhaust is going to mitigate things to a certain point. ACs will also take the edge off. Like I almost never had to run my relative humidity or let's try that again. I didn't have to run my dehumidifier in terms of my relative humidity on the last run much at all because the AC was taking care of it. With the smaller pots, we were having less moisture kind of come off during our lights on, even with the higher temps because of the smaller pots rather than doing the fives in the smaller room. So really the dehumidifier did not have to work that hard for us on this one. How many pints is your dehumidifier? That would be my first question. How big is it, Greg? Sadly, you know, relative humidity is like one of those things, like, you know, and it's if you're still struggling with it with having a dehumidifier in your space, you need a dehumidifier that's bigger. So the one I'm using is a 70.1. It does crank pretty good. I think she's going up like 6.8 to 8.1 amps when she's, you know, kicking on and doing her thing. But you know, I have had zero issues with that thing. And my 70 point is so powerful that, like, in that tawny little flowering room we have there, like, let's say I walk in, she's full or something happens, so like I've spiked to like 85, and I'm like, oh my dear Jesus Christ, oh my God. Turn that fucker on. Dude, 10, 15 minutes, it's down to 55. She'll move quick and make time, brother. But, so how big the one you have? Ooh, apricot. I've got an apricot skunk, and then I've got a different apricot kush in my collection. And they don't always have that apricot-y scent to them. But once in a blue moon, some of the phenos do, though. It's kind of nice. So I've met the apricot scent before, my friend, I'll tell you. Yeah, see, Roman, I've never needed a humidifier. Also, Greg, if you're noticing your dehumidifier is struggling to keep up, check your setting to check your fan speed. So most dehumidifiers can have a fan speed, low, medium, and high, or something like that. So turn up your fan speed, turn up the power, crank the bitch, and see if it's able to handle it. Yeah, so in terms of us here in British Columbia, a lot of rain happens, everybody. At the last lab, if you remember, it was a partially renovated garage that literally had a garage door on one end of it, a false wall and a door, but it was still a garage door open concept. So sort of the ambient relative humidity outside of that grow space was through the roof, ladies and gentlemen. It was astonishing. It was spiked all the time throughout winter. So our dehumidifier became a quintessential component, and it was so heavy and hard to mitigate that I basically had to keep the thing on 24 hours a day running in that grow space, especially during the winter and the early wet spring, because mostly we get a lot of rain here, right? So and then keep it auto draining into the sink. That was like a big deal. Like I had to do that, or else he get too human mind, he be bad, you know. You walk in with your glasses, it gets foggy. You're like, oh shit, bitch, oh my God, it's so bad on there. Oh damn, I need to turn you up. It was bad. Like, so I really had to crank that bitch hard. I had to crank it hard. Mad organic scientist. I am well, my friend. A little tired, a little sticky. I've been processing, dried cannabis, but I'm doing well, my friend. How are you? You are saying I am getting 22 degrees in the day, all right, and down to 7 at night. Ooh. Is there any way I could still pop seeds and grow them out there through the winter? Yes, technically, in theory, you could. Typically, you're going to want to go with something that has a lot of traditionally, colloquially called indica type genetics. You want something that's going to have that thicker, fatter kind of resins within the plant tissues that it's producing. Obviously, like those who've pressed rosin will know that indica is typically throwing this sort of the thicker, better, higher returns in terms of pressing flower into rosin, for example, right? So, and in my experience, indica leaning things, indica dom things, often are a little bit better at handling those cooler temperatures. Depending on your photo time, I would maybe, this is one of the few times, if you're going to try to do an outdoor winter experiment to grow, or cold outside experiment, I'm not sure what your photo periods are where you are. I'm not sure where you are. So you may even want to then consider trying to do that experiment with autos. And I'm not normally an auto guy. I'm not normally a fan of autos or an advocate for them. For my own personal growing anyway, and I don't normally, oddly, sorry everybody, I'll turn that off. There we go. That won't happen again. But that would be my only potential recommendation. So in basic theory, in terms of the numbers you quoted, though, yeah, it's technically possible. Are they going to be the happiest things ever? I don't know. That's getting borderline pretty damn cold at night, but you could always try. Well, see, that's crazy, Roman. But it goes to show you, though, Roman, reckless. Like, how different where you grow and live is from where I grow and live, right? So for here, we have huge hardcore relative humidity spikes. But for where you are, you've got to run a humidifier to make the ladies happy. Hey, much love and respect back to you, Family Trees Grow Coast. Keep it real, and we'll see you later, baby. So you're in autumn as of the moment. All right. I say go for it, Mad Organic Scientist. But I would suggest if you're going to make the attempt on it, one, it may not go well. Let's be honest. I'm going to be honest with you from the get-go. It might not work very well. But in theory, it could. And also, you never know. And two, go with the intercleaning things. Three, maybe run autos. They're more forgiving when it comes to what we're kind of talking about, both in terms of the temperatures going into autumn with the different sort of lower, stuff. And yeah. Aussie Lone Wolf says, I did a Durban apricot sherbet strain. All right. And like raised gas and apricot terms. Oh, okay. Very cool. Yeah, and Miss K, when you bust that up and you roll it at the joint, you get those, get the sticky on your fingers, and you go to smoke it. You're like, oh, there she is. Oh yes, there's that apricot, baby. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I totally know what you mean. Like it's a subtle profile to it. Like it's not like this screaming profile, but it's there. Huh, weird, O'Shea. To be fair, though, O'Shea, because you don't live that far from me, and it is swooping in terms of temperatures right now and also moisture levels as well. We've had like some warnings for snow. We've had warnings for atmospheric rivers. So, I mean, that's not surprising. And then we've had heat and it actually warming up at the same time, O'Shea. So I'm not surprised to hear that at all, to be fair. What's up, Eric Grant's Artistry? How you doing, my friend? Makes sense, Roman. Hey, thank you, Family Trees Go Coast. Yes, I guess I should say that that's what you're supposed to do as a YouTuber. If you're enjoying the show, remember to please like and tell your friends. And if you're not subscribed, well, hell, tune in and subscribe. That helps us with the algorithm battle we have against YouTube. All right. But I always feel strange at saying such things. It's like, I figure people like it if they want to. Oh, man. What's up, Stony Baker MD? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. All right. I actually agree, Stony Baker MD. Doing a dry or unlit togue, right? After you just busted it and rolled it, it definitely gives you a lot of those sort of effervescences, right? Well, I would also say, Roman, in terms of sort of the auto flowers places, sort of certain areas having limited outdoor realities in terms of their seasons and what they're able to accommodate in terms of photo period and temperature basic averaging and median, and what the season's like if it has high fluctuation. I mean, given this sort of the speed and the rigor some little autos can have. I mean, I would say it has a really good place though too, in terms of a very limited outdoor space. And if you're trying to produce low cost medicine, it's way to go that way. Well, and I agree with you, Grimity. You know what I mean? I like cold temps, but you got to be careful about how low you take them and at what point. Hey, I mean, that alien riff, she got so mad on this run when we had those temperatures dropping at night, man. It was nuts. 1 second, everybody. All right, so Gregory Allen Reed. I believe you need a slightly bigger one. Because do you have it in that big 10 of yours that's not the 5x5, but the 8 by something, or 8x4, 8x5, or something like that? Is it in the big 10? And also, did you have your fan set at its highest setting as well? Hey, no worries, Operation Annihilation. I'm always happy to share my humble 2 cents, baby. Stony Baker MD, original autos when they first were commercialized and brought to market by the Joint Doctor, they were autos. And still, auto weed. It'll never really truly be quite as strong as its parent lineage. But I'll say that autos have come light years since when they first hit the scene. And there's some pretty ridiculously strong enough autos. I wouldn't say they're a photo, but they've come a long way, light years, in terms of both their size, yieldability, and then sort of that classical left hook, shall we say. Hey, peace and love, Miss K. We'll talk to you later. Stony Baker MD. Cher wants to know if there's life after love. Well, Uncle Potsquatch says, well, there bloody well be, or I've been hallucinating a bunch of times throughout my life. Hell yeah, man. Organic scientist. Well, you know, Stoney, it sounds like maybe you got one of those more old school or the one of the new age throw off autos that is a little tiny. I've seen some weird things because, you know, Texas Squatch likes to play with running autos and developing them, and you know, he's had these weird ones where it's like this tiny little bud came off, and then he sent some beans to Greg, so Greg tried them, and Greg had this one little plant, and she came out this one tiny little bud. It was kind of cute. Mike was like, "No, man, keep that one plant. Grow one joint." Greg did not keep the plant, but it was kind of funny though. And I'm only a photo guy myself, Roman, but at the same time, you know, we can talk about them though. I love it, Reverend Veritas. I love it. All right. So also too, Greg, if you're still there, still waiting for the answer to your question about the size of your tank. Is it the big 8 by whatever? Eddie Muscle TNT. I think Texas Squatch does have a YouTube channel. I don't think he does weed on it though. I think he's got like it's a cooking with Texas Squatch, and it's usually his culinary experiments and smoking and barbecuing and stuff like that. But he may have done weed on there too, but I don't think he does though. Well, there you go. Return to the Mac. Oh, so Mac, was that the one I really liked the training you did on? Was that an auto, that one, Mac, or was the one before that one the auto? I mean, you know, Roman, it is cool. I think it's interesting. You know, I definitely think it's interesting. I do question the actual potency and integrity of each of these strains that are a little weird and different. Because I've yet to meet one that you know rocked my socks. Right? I've met ones that were good, but that's about it. Yeah, it's funny, right, Chem D? It's just like this whole plant grew one joint. Like, well, that's the thing, Eric Grant's artistry. I mean, playing with autos, it limits your shit, right? Playing with the photo world, you can control the vegetation window and when you go to flower, etc., etc. Ah, okay, that's what I thought in the end. I was like, wait a minute, I don't think that was right. Okay, perfect, awesome. Return to the Mac. What's up, Jeremiah Sanchez? Good to see you, buddy. Ah, hell, Operation Annihilation. Have fun with it, baby. One second, everybody. I'm just reading. Now, the question is, Reverend Veritas, are we both drinking? Because we should be. Oh, there's Greg. So Greg, question. How big's the tent that you've got the dehumidifier in? Sorry, everybody. I gotta pee. It's time for a live stream during the live stream. For those of you who are new here, this was the thing you used to do, and, well, hell, I'm just happening. Deal with it. All right. Diuretics, they are a thing. Live stream during the live stream. All right. No, Operation Annihilation, this is a thing. This goes back years now on this channel. We used to do this all the time. Now I'm more cultured and respectable. So I only do it once in a blue moon now. Hashtag boom. There we go. All right. That's right. That's right. Return of the Max. Subscribe for more. No, we're not that. We're just weird. Yeah, I know. Operation Annihilation. I used to pee all the time. Then I took a break from it. It wasn't very healthy. You know, it was bad. No, I'm just joking. No, but during the live streams, yes, Operation Annihilation. There used to be a lot of, because back in the day, I used to drink a lot more in these shows. I would drink a shitload of beers. So that had to happen more often than not. But yes. So the 4x8. Okay, Greg. So then the 30 probably is just slightly underpowered. I would say, Greg, pick yourself up a 70-pint dehumidifier, and it will serve you well. That's the size I have, and I'm very happy with my 70-pint dehumidifier there, Greg. So we might need a little bit of extra oomph, but also before, try cranking the fan power through the roof and make sure all your settings are maximized out. And if it still doesn't cut it, then we need to get you a 70-pint, but need to get you the 70-pint. Excuse me. Yes, Chem D, because I just want to see it, bro. My main thing is like I am curious about their invisibility to PM bugs as a trait, just because I find that interesting. But Chem D, I want to see the two-headed snake weird mutation, because I've only ever seen a picture like that from you. I've never heard of that before, seen it present before. I've seen a lot of weird mutations, and that one, Chem D, I'm very curious to see. I would love to see it in person, because it reminds me of those two-headed snakes. You know what I mean? I think it's like, oh my god, it's just weird, but cool weird. Like I like it. Oh, don't worry, Wise George. We never did that on the show. We never did that on the show. Well, Mud Swat, I mean, dialing it in or tuning it in, I call it dialing it in. It's a relative term, and you can always kind of do better, right? Like once you get to a certain point of dialing things in, you got to play with it a bit and rock and roll. Yeah, and that's true, Greg, about the autos. I mean, you did plant them in a super hot soil, but I wasn't going to tell that to everybody. But I love your honesty. Well, now I'm going to tell the story, Greg. So Greg, everybody, made this like very hot soil mix. Right. Like good soil, but he went to it right away with the babies. And they were not happy. We'll leave it at that. They were not happy babies. But we've addressed that and we've changed it. You know what I'm saying? Because the soil, at the end of the day, like it had not had a chance to break everything down, and it's like soil, the nature of what it was, is not what you start little babies in, and they were just so unhappy. So I'm like, Greg, let's start over. That's like all of us were talking to Greg. We voted. We're like, Greg, we think you should kill your plants. Just do it and get some neutral soil to start them, and then we can start doing weird shit to it. Let's get that neutral soil in there, Greg, and let's grab some genetics, and maybe try the gases madness that acts quick. It's got a good tap root to it. Let's get you another successful run in there so you feel good about yourself. And then, hell, take the soil you made and just let it sit for the next 6 months, and then we'll use it. Maybe cut up some more neutral soil, too. All right, so everyone, a hot soil typically can mean two things. One, it has an excess of salt in it. But typically, that's not what we're talking about. When we take organic amendments, if you may want to call them, we start mixing our things. We got our blood meal and our bone meal, right? And we're like, yes. And we got all of our imported back ones. We're like, yes, right? And we get all of that. And then we mix it all together into dirt. And we go, yes, now I can plant it. No. Your cultures need to break it down. It needs time to decompose and break down and come together. It's kind of like all these different worlds that have yet to merge in the dirt. And they need to merge and come to terms with themselves before you can plant into them. And if you plant right away into it, it will just scorch the poor baby roots of your plants. It will make them so sad. So that's where the struggle came with these plants. You know, it was just sitting there. It was kind of like asking a little baby to go play in the NFL. It's just no, just don't do it. Oh, Greg, you gotta let your back heal. I saw you on the video call earlier, Greg, and your back is still stiff. You need to let the back heal, Greg, before don't go climbing up on the shed and doing that. We don't need you hurting yourself, Greg. I don't even know what that means, Tony. My God, in what way? But yeah. So long story short, starting our plants in sort of more of a neutral soil, that would be great. Greg, I know you've answered. I wasn't asking you another question. Oh yes, burning on very hot soil. Burning is even almost too cheap a word, everybody. I like scorching. Yes, I like that. It scorches the plant. It scorches their will to live. It's a bloody truth. Everybody be nice to the Greg. Don't be mean to Greg. Greg is in better shape than all of us, even with a broken back. uh, Mad organic scientist, how can you tell if your soil is neutral? Well, typically, I mean, if we're talking starting with the store-bought soil, they come fairly neutral. Things like Fox Farms or that frog fucking one. Playing with them over the years, I mean, they've been very hot. I mean, avoid them. But for example, like Promix HP comes in very neutral. It's completely safe for your babies. Your babies will have zero issues with it. So it's kind of like just buying a neutral soil base is kind of where you start. So when I'm doing my super soils, right, I'll take a neutral soil base like a Promix HP or whatever the hell I'm choosing to buy. And then I start mixing in my stuff, and then I let it sit, let it break down, let it come to terms with itself, and get funky. Once it's funky, how I'm going to do my pot. So I'm typically going to do it in a big pot if I'm going super soil, and then I'm going to layer it, right? So I'm going to put it like kind of full strength for a little bit at the bottom. Then I'm going to kind of cut it in sort of differentiated ways going up, and then layer the soil that way, mixing it slowly and blending each pot individually. And then I'm going to plant into it, and then I'll water. It'll be good to go. Jesus Christ, Stony. How did 6600 ppm go for you? Oh God. One second, everybody. I'm just reading. Just reading. Bear with me. Yeah, no worries, Matt. I'll get excited. Yeah, like killed the plants though, right, Stony? Yeah, no. Let them eat, let them break down, let Mother Nature do its thing. When we do super soils and we do all of these cool things, we've got to give it time to let it work itself out. It needs to sit for a bit. And don't feel bad though for those of you at home who've had that mistake or made that mistake before. I would say when it comes to a super soil or kind of more organic styles of growing for newer growers, they read a lot about stuff, but they kind of forget that they got to let it kind of bake, as it were, and sit down and break down and let sort of the microbes do their thing. And it's a common mistake. So don't feel too bad. Don't beat yourself up about it, okay? It's a very common mistake that happens, okay? But be very, very careful. Huh, weird. Well, I believe it, Chem D. I believe it. But you could work your way up to these high ppms. Maybe not 6,600. Jesus Christ. But remember, everybody, part of the theory of why I layer my super soils in sort of my bins and stuff is because it can, as it grows, get used to it. So, for example, it'll sit there, and when it goes to a next little breakdown layer of my soil that I'm layering into this big pot, it'll sense what that soil's like. So it'll go to that soil when it's ready to. It's astonishing how intelligent the plant in and of itself is. So layering it, giving it different options to expand to when it's ready to is fine, and it'll learn to adapt and build itself up to it. But remember that. That's a very real thing. So you cut it 10 times and it was good? Yeah, that sounds about right, Stony. Oh, sorry. I'm just having a good laugh, bud. Sorry, everybody. I'm just bleeding. Wait, so Jansen Dennis, you didn't put it in water? You just dumped newts on it? Oh, yeah, don't do that. Oh, yeah, that we don't know. That's a no. That one's just a no, my friend. No, and that happens, Operation Annihilation, right? Like the sort of different time windows of development, that is a very real thing that will happen with different plants. Well, that's true, Greg, though, too. Like, the hot soil, everyone, had Greg's plants kind of frozen in time almost. It's like the plants are like, and we're just going to get to here, and this is all we can do. True story, though. Hey, it happens, Jansen. Don't feel bad about it. My first grows many moons ago, I made many, many mistakes as well. But it is what it is. No, it most certainly isn't, or at least most of them aren't plant ready, in my humble 2 cents. I've met maybe one or two readily available organic mixes that are plant ready, as in I can add it to water and just water it in. Probably the best one, if that, is Medi 1 that comes from Green Planet. Originally, it was called Dr. Hornby's Medi 1, developed here in BC, obviously, and now it's just called Medi 1. But I actually think originally it wasn't even called Medi 1. I think it was originally, quite potentially at the very beginning, if I'm remembering correctly, way back when, it was like almost like Dr. Hornby something plant tonic, and then it got picked up. So then it became Dr. Hornby's Medi 1, and then it became this other thing. And anyway, it's great. It smells like shit. Gross fish shit, but it's good though. But often it's advertised as a standalone singular, and it's really not. I would call it a secondary that's great to add into the 3-part and other things with it. Green Planet, the guys who make it, they found out, they're like, wait, what? You're adding in Medi 1 to the 3-part? I'm like, yeah. They're like, but it's not for that. I'm like, yeah, but it works good though. Try it out. One second here, everybody. Muskoka, James. I mean, Gaia Green amendments. I've kind of played with them a little bit, and it wasn't even at my own grows, just sort of helping with friends with their grows. I have a number of friends who are really into Gaia Green. I think that if you use them properly and take your time with them, let them break down and do it properly, and have sort of some foresight to your planned grows. Get your pots ready. Let them sit. Let them get ready. Yeah, it's okay, for sure. But I haven't personally played with them a lot. I just have a lot of friends who like them, and I've played with them in terms of friends grows. But that's kind of sort of the extent of that. But I love my Green Planet at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm never gonna say if you start using some Green Planet in on top at the end to give it some extra oomph, I'm gonna say that's sexy. I'm gonna say that makes sense. Ah, Reverend Veritas says, "Hey, Potsquatch, not sure if you saw my previous question. I probably don't. But any tips on getting a glass-on-glass joint fused together with wax concentrate unstuck?" Well, it's glass, so we can't torch it too much because it'll crack. And if it's a quartz bowl going in, you might be able to torch the bowl. But if it's not quartz and it's glass, don't torch it too heavy. I would try, to be honest with you, just flashing it with a torch. Not right quick, just like, boop, boop, boop. And just keep ever so gently trying to work it out. Because basically, if it's glass on glass joint, you've got a very tight wall to wall thing here where it's stuck. I'd flash it, try to get it just to loosen up just enough without hurting the glass, and then you can kind of twist and probably tweak her out. That'd be the way I would approach it anyway. You got it, Greg. No, your ladies are looking good, Greg. They're looking good. Ooh, snails, cool. I dig it, mad organic scientist. A second, everybody. I'm just reading. Well, that's good too, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're just in coco coir, I mean, Eric, next to no nutrients in those. Yeah, don't do that, Roman. I agree. That's a good suggestion, buddy. Peace and love. Return to the Mac. We'll talk to you later, buddy. I mean, Everclear, basically, similar to kind of a grain alcohol and stuff like that. I mean, I personally like using alcohol-based extractions for making sort of a traditional hash oil. I have used moonshines or things like Everclear to make tinctures. They kind of burn a bit. So really, but I mean, for doing it as an extraction your essential oils and your hash oils and then cooking that down, yeah, I'm a fan of that. I wish I could easily get my hands on proper grain alcohol legally in Canada, but it's sadly not legal in my province. So, I mean, MCT oil is a great coconut oil in terms of a refined coconut oil for making tinctures and other things like that, but I don't, it could work. It could work to start to bring that, but since it's such a refined oil, it might lack some of the breaking down of those cannabinoids. You know what I mean? I'm just reading here again, everybody. I mean, yeah, Swankshire's got a point too. Like often, I've been known to pour boiling water into my rigs, like my thick Pyrax style rig, and it typically can handle the heat and it doesn't crack or anything like that. Especially if it's at room temperature when you do it. Maybe you put warm water in it first, dump that, pour your boiling water in, and that might loosen it up just enough as well. Because basically, you just need to get enough heat on it in some form or fashion so you can start to wiggle it loose and kind of work it out and clean everything out, and it'll be okay. That sounds sexy, Rome, by the way. Stony Baker MD, I am drinking a beautiful Table Saison small batch brew from Mountain View Brewing. Potentially soon to be the first ever sponsors of our show. Hey, no worries, Eddie Muscle TNT. Hey, thank you, Jonathan Dennis. I appreciate it, buddy. Dude, that's cool, Roman. You should send me a link to that. I'd like to look into it too. That sounds fun. Whoop, that's backwards. Now, here's the question. Who's here getting excited for the next run? I'm already at the next run in my head. The only problem is I'm still debating because I was going to start the season before we went to Vancouver. I didn't. because I'm still exactly debating what I exactly want to do. We're definitely going to pop a few of the Galactic Citrus Shiva. I'm thinking I might pop some more Alien Rift, or I might also do a complete 180 and pick something we haven't even talked about at all doing from the vault just for fun. And then I keep going back to, oh, but that blue cheese by GSC could be really sexy too. It's hard to make decisions really. Oh, I feel you, Swankshire. And, Swankshire, I've gotten a lot of glass apart myself over the days and years. Boiling water or sometimes torching it. Like, I mean, if you've got a proper quartz bowl, the most amazing way to clean it. And big shout out to Glenn Wells of CanAmatch.ca who taught me how to torch a quartz bowl, cooler water, and just clean it off. It's actually kind of cool. Scary at first until you realize proper quartz won't shatter, but it is what it is. Hey, random letters. Go for it. But at the end of the day, if you get anything interesting, refine it further and do it properly. What's up, Dalesky OG? Oh, hell yeah. And Muskoka James, I mean, that Blackberry Kush, now you got my attention. But then again, a purple ramen could be really cool. Like, I respect ramen, never been a huge fan of it, but it is something that is really interesting to mix with stuff, right? So purple Romulan would be interesting. I've got a Romulan by Cheese in my collection that is quite interesting as well. Oh hell yeah, no, Chem D, no, for sure. I think there's a lot of things. I got lots of things that I could trade, and I think you've got a lot of interesting things I'd be curious to fuck around with too. They're good, Dalesky. So Dalesky, I've been processing pretty much. I'm basically halfway done processing now. Oh, 1 second. Camera's stuck. So there we go. So basically, we've got the two K-Town Kush by Cheeses and the Orange Hindus left to do. Everything else has been basically processed. Well, I'm almost done the K-Town upstairs right now. That was what I was working on before the show. Yeah, gonna do those ones next, and kind of go from there. Also, too, I'd like to take another moment. So we found out our table number. We're gonna be table number 16 at 420. So here's the protest area. There is 18, 17, and 16. So right at the front, crest to the left from a bird's eye view of the art gallery area where this is. We're going to be like right there in the heart of it, everybody. So come check us out. We're going to be at this 420. We're going to have all the hats and t-shirts and grinders. We're going to have the CBD products there, the beard oil there. We're going to have some cannabis there. Might even make some shroom truffles. Who knows? I might even have some packs for those of you who are interested. Just to even try some of the initial genetics that we played with for fun to take home. And we'll make those nice and affordable and cheap for you to come grab and play with. But come check it out. It's going to be like the one day where you're going to see us kind of there and actively having those things. I mean, the store will be up and running soon for the hats, t-shirts, and CBD and all of that. But it'll be like the one day a year where you can see us show up and maybe see some of the other things that we do for fun and kind of partake in that. I'm actually think I'm going to make a bunch of brownies too. So I was thinking I might make just a crap ton of pot brownies and cookies because I was a baker and a head chef for a long time. So I've been known to make a decent brownie, shall we say. Actually, too, and that's another thing, side note. So we'll have that all there at 420. Come check us out. But there's been a lot of people recently reaching out and kind of expressing an interest in me maybe doing some cooking episodes again. I think we did like 4 or 5 episodes of Potsquatch's Cannabis Kitchen. It was basically me cooking weed food and then eating it and getting high, or feeding someone else it and getting them high. We actually tried to shoot it originally with a production company, Typhoon TV, and the whole day just turned into a weird, stupid shit show, and it didn't work out. The production company was late to show up for the shoot. Then guests were late, and it was just, we had all this great equipment shooting it, but then everyone was just kind of a drunken fool idiot, and it didn't work out. We didn't end up getting what we wanted to shoot. So we tried it again. It was just basically me at home cooking and kind of shooting it kind of Potsquatch, simple video style. I liked it. Probably the one I found the funniest one was making our burger infused like 5 or 6 ways burger or some shit like that. But we made like a meatball sandwich, I think, and we made one where we were like showing you how to make canna butter and all this other stuff. So we may bring that back. A lot of people would be like, "We want to watch you cook with weed and eat it," and I was like, "Okay, well, we did that earlier. I didn't think anyone liked it back in the day, but I guess we could bring it back. Maybe our audience has changed now. People want to see that, so we'll do that. Hell, maybe I'll make a video of baking the brownies for 420 as well. Yeah, but anyway, long story short, come check us out April 20th down at the art gallery. Okay. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have all the CBD products are going to be there, and plus much more. I'm going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of us there of the local Potsquatches of BC that are coming out, and it's going to be a good time. Come check it out. Come smoke a doobie with us. Come hang out. Come say hi. Come take a picture. Come make a video if you want. We're going to do a live stream, obviously around 420 or leading up to 420 at the event. And then filming and sharing that with the world. So we'll probably go live at 420 at about, my guess is 3:30. But and the table will stay open, selling and everything during us doing the live stream. I'm just going to be running that. So big shout out to the fellow Potsquatch going to come help me do that. But yeah, if you want to come meet Uncle Potsquatch, hang out, take a shot with us, for your Instagram or any of that, and do it up. It's going to be good. We're going to be there. We invite all of you down. We'll be table number 16. We'll be by canamatch.ca and the Beard Bros. We will only be accepting cash at the table for purchase of goods, so remember that too. What is the link that you shared, Roman? Mad Organic Scientist, how big is my seed bank? Well, we don't call it a seed bank. We call it a genetic vault. And we've got a little over 200 items currently in it, and it grows by the day. Certain things that we've had over the years we've gotten rid of just because they weren't something I wanted to work with. But we've got some very rare old things, a lot of them in actuality. We're actually in some business talks given that and trying to find ways forward to get ourselves to a place where we're bringing our genetics to market sooner than you thought. So at the end of the day, no, quite extensive, and it's always growing, my friend. It's one of our passions here at Potsquatch Growers. We're always going to, one of our goals is to obviously have a legal craft brand where, there'll be small batch versions of our cannabis available. But genetics and bringing genetics to the market and developing sort of the future of cannabis is kind of where we're at. And that's a big part of what we're doing these days. And, pheno hunting and watching and dancing and playing around with development is really what we're about. And, it's going well though. And so some exciting things to come in that regard fairly soon as well. Well, Johnson Dennis, if you want to say Romulan ale. That's right. Drinking the Romulan ale, Scotland. Scottish wise. Scottish speak. Which video, Jansen? I'll have to check it out, Muskoka James. Yes, BC stands for British Columbia, buddy. I live in BC. I'm a BC bud grower. Nice, Mad Organic Scientist. I dig it. But if you really want to make an infused chicken, I'll teach you how to make an infused chicken. I'm not a Parisian chef, but I make more country pub comfort kind of food as a chef. And I'll put it to you this way. I've never met an infused cooking as strong as mine, but as tasty as mine either. I'm good at making weed titties get you high in food, but making it taste good. One second here, everybody. I'm reading you. Yeah, just dose the family, Stony. Dose the family. So the Rick Simpson story, yeah, no, it's a beautiful story. I mean, and I call it Rick Simpson oil even just because it's kind of become a traditional turn of phrase. My only thing of not a negative thing, but maybe a stickler thing I would say is that Rick Simpson didn't invent it. He found an application for traditional hash oil. So he didn't invent the oil. Okay, Rick Simpson discovered a very real, very amazing application for it. But a huge amount of respect to it because really it was kind of one of the groundbreaking things of seeing what it can do for melanomas, etc., that led us to realizing that it's not just skin cancers that it can work with, and breaking down other forms of cancer within the human body is pretty astonishing. So, yeah. Because Stony Baker MD making infused chicken can be pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? I had the cat in the background. Yeah, my orange cat. The doctor. He still lives. He still exists. He's upstairs now. Here's the fun question. So if I were to do, because pretty much put it to you this way, most things I could cook for you on the show, and I could find ways of putting weed in. What would everyone like us to see or like to see us do in terms of growing weed on the channel? Fuck off, Josh. Let's try that again. What would everyone like to see me do cooking with weed? Pretty sure we've shown you growing weed already a few times, but what would you like to see us cook? What would you like recipe-wise? If we were to bring out another episode of Potsquatch's Cannabis Kitchen, what would you like to see? What do you want us to cook for you? Oh, hell yeah, Roman. It's astonishing what it can do. But, I'm open to ideas here. Chocolate chip cookies. I mean, we could do that. That's a pretty basic one, Stony. But, I mean, I do make a mean chocolate chip cookie. I basically typically use my mother's chocolate chip cooking recipe, which was her mother's chocolate chip cooking recipe. I just put drugs in it. But yes, we could do chocolate chip cookies. All right. Eric Grant's Artistry wants to see pizza. We could definitely do a pizza. On the pizza, it would be easy. We could do a gentle infusion on the dough, bake it low, do a nice slow bake or not a bake, a sweat on it, infuse it with an olive oil, do it at a lower bake temp for a longer time, which will denature less on that. And all the weed stuff. So the thing with cooking with weed is we got to kind of go lower temps on a lot of what we do and kind of adjust our cooking style on that. We could do an infused sauce. We could then also do some meats that we infuse with that. We could do a saute and a bunch of the veg real quick. Yeah, there's a bunch of options that we could do with that one. We could even make an infused dipping sauce to go with the pizza as well. We could definitely do pot tacos. I could definitely do some tacos for you. A turducken. That one, I think, Operation Annihilation would just be fun because I'm going to have fun with that one. Definitely. We actually already have a brownie episode, so I've made pot brownies on the channel before. It was either called, I'm pretty sure it was called like Uncle Potsquatch Makes Space Cake or some shit like that. But we have done that, but we could do it again for you. There's a new brownie recipe the wife made the other day, which is like a Guinness-based chocolate brownie. That could be pretty rad too. How you could pull off a barbecue? Well, I'd have to buy a new barbecue because I got rid of our last one. But no, I've been known to be pretty good at barbecuing. I could definitely do a cannabis-infused shrimp dish. I'll probably make it prawns because I prefer big tiger prawns. But we could definitely do like a prawn infused prawn action dish. We could definitely do that. Okay, Eddie Muscle TNT wants like a traditional kind of working class, like I grew up, like a chicken rice broccoli cheese casserole. We could do that, and then I'll probably do you another one that I grew up with, which was actually sort of a what we call broccoli casserole, but that it has broccoli, cheese, ham, macaroni, elbow pastas. And we can make that one super infused as well. We could even maybe bring in some smoked cheese from Mad Bull Smokeries. They make jerky and smoked cheese, and we order custom batches in for ourselves just because I like it. But we could get some of that. We could bring that in, sort of, and then we could infuse their cheese. A moose stew. WB Grows. I'm down to do a moose stew if we could get some moose meat. Um, Medicated sex in the pan. I mean, hell. That's more of a porno than a cooking show, but man, let me think about it. Yeah, so the dough I would infuse with using an olive oil on that one or a canola oil based stoning on that one. Garlic cannabis butter has been something that we used, for example, when we made the burger infused 5 or 6 ways video, and then I forgot that it was in the fridge, and then I made a breakfast one morning for Mrs. Potsquatch. I wanted to make her a sexy frittata, and I was like, oh, it's garlic butter. I mean, I made it at some point. I don't remember, so I used it in it, and I forgot that it was medicated, and so Mrs. Potsquatch is not got the highest tolerance to cannabis, and she ate like 2 giant pieces. So I was in the lab working away, and she comes in like, "Did you put weed in that?" I was like, "What do you mean?" No, what? Wait a minute. Oh, oh shit. Yeah, honey, you're not going out today. Like, you're gonna sit in this chair, and she fell asleep for the entire fucking day. Medicated lube. We actually have a CBD lube potentially coming out in the next 6 to 8 months, but it won't be medicated with THC. Legally, we can't quite do that yet, but we might be releasing a CBD lube, though, everybody. Fun for everybody. Well, if I can find some fresh enough, Roman, we could definitely do that. Sorry, everybody, I'm just reading everyone's comments here. Yes, I've actually made it before Operation Lasagna, so I could totally make that as well. I mean, you're at home dirty or catfishing, so you could definitely do that if you'd like to. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Bud Swat. Well, actually, we could. So Muskoka James, like I mean, my buddy, my close buddy, makes a lot of really killer jerky, and he's kind of brilliant at what he does. We could definitely medicate his jerky recipes. The trick will just be doing it kind of low and slow, so we don't denature or anything like that. I don't know. I mean, I've seen Martha Stewart stuff. I've never seen the New Zealand kids show. Uh, I know what we did on our show. We did a few cooking episodes. We'll do some more though. People have been asking for it, which is weird because it wasn't actually overly popular originally. Like I mean, it's gotten views since then, I guess, but it's kind of taken a sort of a back burner to everything. See, it's funny, Roman. My broccoli casserole has got the macaroni pasta. We use celery, cream of celery soup, not cream of mushroom soup. So it's like its basic premise is very similar. Yeah, most things are kind of a lottery here, random letters and all of that. So, yeah, like you can't just go do it. You gotta get lucky. Well, actually, Mad Organic Scientist. I mean, that's not the way we went on it on ours. But if you go check it out, we did do a burger episode. We made a giant honking burger. Our patty was super duper infused. I ate it and I felt okay. Like I got high, but it was like not a big deal. But then poor Uncle Michael Gooba, my goodness, he ate half that burger, and then he was high for fucking 2 days. Poor bastard. It was funny though. We didn't use any cannabis leaf greens in it though, for the lettuce or anything. Uh, we didn't do that, but go check it out though. If you want to see a burger that definitely had a left hook of death to it, go check out the fused 5 or 6 ways burger with Uncle Potsquatch, man. It was, let's see, what episode would that have been? Because I called it Potsquatch's Cannabis Kitchen. I think we only did like 5 or 6 episodes. Maybe it was only 4. 4 to 6. Let's go with that. I got a feeling it was episode 3, 4, or 5. Excuse me. No, I was good though, Mad Organic Scientist. It was a solid patty though. It was like the burger patty was like this. It was a big burger, ladies and gentlemen. Pooty Doo official music. What's the highest I've ever been from non-edibles? I mean, I've been really fucking high a bunch of times. But probably the highest I ever was the first time I got high, which was actually the 7th time I got high, because the first 6 times didn't do shit. Lucky number 7. Oddly happened in Ontario. It wasn't even BC weed that did it. It was going back to Ontario, funnily enough, as a young kid, 11 or 12. And it would have been 12, I think. And went back, and I finally got high off weed. And it was, they got this medical weed, because I guess their one friend's mom had passed away from cancer, so the dad still got weed from like the medical hookup, I guess. And so we were doing third lungs, and I was coughing so bad on that, and they're like, "Oh, hit the water bang; it'll make you feel better." So I, as being a young idiot, was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And I started hitting that, and then it just got me way more high, and I basically walked around for 8 or 9 hours, completely aware of everything and unaware of everything at the same time for about 8 or 9 hours. It was a surreal experience. I've never been high quite like that since. I mean, I've definitely been super high other times, but not in that way. That was like this is Major Tom, and I'm also ground control. It was messed up. But it was interesting, a real story from that time too is like, I was supposed to have this little young kid date and take this girl to a movie who went to my church, and my dad was the priest of when we lived in Ontario, and I got so high I couldn't do it, so I just stood her up like an asshole because I was too high, because I got high. And I was very apologetic, and I took her out the next day for a date, and it was fine. But yeah, that's the true, honest to God story of my first time getting high. Like, oh shit, right? Sweet dreams, Ivan. I'll talk to you later, my friend. Much love, and keep it sexy. Well, you got to remember, Muskoka James, I'm from Ontario, but I learned the ways of the forest because I moved out west at an early age. I say Ontario's okay. You got what we got. But that's just friendly interprovincial competition. Plus, I was born in Ontario, but I came out here. I consider myself a West Coaster now, so I'm proud of my origins. I'm proud of where I came from, but I'm even more proud of where I am and consider myself part of now. But nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, no, Pooty Doo official music, it'll happen, man. Pooty Doo, man. When you get that first high and those munchies. For me, my first munchies, the first time I got high, I went to Tim Hortons, and I bought like 12 donuts. And then I only owned 12 donuts for a very short period of time. Did not take long for me to destroy those fucking things. Oh, Stony Baker MD, it most certainly will. There's no way that it won't. You got to remember, large corporations like Walmart and everybody, they're going to want to, capitalize on the new movement on that one. And then, given the size of your population within your country, if you have federal legalization in America, you know that's going to go down. It's going to happen, man. 100%. Roman, I mean, you guys will probably do some version of it like we did, and it's going to be like prohibition of alcohol. And when alcohol came back, it took us like, 10, 15 years to kind of start to get things right. Federal legalization is the right way to go at the end of the day, but it just means that we're on to another fight of 10 to 20 years to really get equal representation, a fair trade market, and our actual rights to be observed, as well as appropriate laws of actual regulation as to the way it should be in terms of cannabis. Well, hell, Muskoka James, let me know, man. I live in Hope now, but I'm often, I'll come into Van City, and I've also spent my times in Squamish area, Pemberton, Whistler, over on the Sunshine Coast, over on the islands. I've been around, my friend. But if if you're ever up here, man, let me know. Well, Roman, it's bad for us little people in that it's harder for us to get into the industry. I do think that things will slowly change though too, and there are ways forward. That's part of what our company's going to be doing. Like, who knows? Like, if we ever when we no when we get to this place where we're really successful in doing a lot of our stuff, like, you know what I mean. Hell, like, I could totally see us as a company starting a um, almost like, think of it like a scholarship program, but it's more so like, we'll help you in your local area start up your company. We will take part, but a reasonable part, and we'll do that as a way to give back and build people up and allow them to get into the industry and be successful. After the years of us fighting tooth and nail to try to be here, once we finally get there and get everything going, helping more people into the industry that want to be there, I could totally see us getting behind and getting on board with. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome, Pootie Doo official music though. That sounds dope, yo. Well, and see, that's the thing. You got to remember random letters. Like, I mean, the new world of legalization will bring a kind of large scale weed to existence. But that's not something that smaller growers need to be scared of, because there will always be the market for boutique cannabis. There'll be a growing market for boutique cannabis because they'll start on the Walmart and then they'll come to us. So, there's room for everybody. You never know, Stony. Oh man, that sounds intense, Eddie Muscle TNT. I tell you, it probably will, Stony. But anyway, my friends, I've come to realize, though, we've hit our mark for the show today. And I got to get back to processing shit. I've got hours and hours and hours of work still ahead of me, and, well, I got to get to it. But my friends, my family, come check us out at 420 this April. April 20th will be table number 16. I'll be there. A bunch of us will be there, and it'll be a good time, baby. All right. Remember, the true grower is the forever student. The true grower is not afraid to take risks. The true grower makes educated, stupid decisions. Love yourselves, love your plants. If you've enjoyed this show or any of our other content, like, subscribe, tell your friends. It actually helps us in many, many ways.
check out PotsquatchSales.com, the soon-to-be functioning store where you can buy all of your Squatch swag, as well as our CBD and etc. Check out Squatch Lighting Systems, brought to you by Soul Strips, so the most affordable professional grade tech around. If you want to grow like Uncle Squatch, check out our lights. They're a thing. Find the link to all of that in the description of this video. Also, it's about everywhere. So, you can even email me, potsquatch420@gmail.com. If you want to come hang out with us also on the Facebook there, we do have a Facebook group. Check it out. It's called the Potsquatch Growers Community on Facebook. Answer the questions. It is, in fact, a liability. So just answer the questions. Then we can let you right in, okay? All right, everybody. Keep it real. Where do your mother? Keep it squatchy. We'll talk to you next time. Whoop, whoop.